Are you or someone you know looking to buy or sell a home? When you use a HomeGain Realtor to buy or sell a home, you can get $150. Visit HomeGain.com and click on the Promo 150 banner at the top of the page to get started. Compare HomeGain Realtors and choose your favorite. Complete your home purchase or sale transaction with a HomeGain Realtor, and HomeGain will pay you $150. Get started today by going to HomeGain.com.
Welcome back, guys, to Real Estate 360 Live. I'm your host, Brian Sloper, joined today by my guest, Louis Cammarosano, the general manager of HomeGain. Quick reminder, Real Estate 360 is designed to build the Washington, D.C. Metro's housing and credit markets. If you guys ever have any questions, whether it's regarding, trying to get a home loan, whether it's, you're trying to sell your home and you're trying to get an accurate evaluation of your property and what you should sell it for, if you're underwater and you're not sure what your options are. I know a lot of people out there right now are, upside down. Matter of fact, nationwide, the statistic is 1 in every 3 homeowners are underwater. You don't have to feel like you're out there on your own, because you're not. Don't bury your head in the sand and feel like, woe is me, because, you can take a bad situation and make it not as bad. If you let that property go to foreclosure, you could be affecting not only your chances of getting another home, but your overall credit situation when you go to apply for another auto loan or a credit card. You could be crushing that for 5 to 7 years versus taking a better approach of trying to short sale your home, which would allow you to potentially buy again in as few as 2 years, and also, limit the impact that it has financially on trying to obtain other types of loans. Obviously, this is a real estate show, but our goal is to try to help you make sound financial decisions. And I feel like, I see too many people that just give up, throw the towel in, and just say, I'm just going to let the bank take my house back. That's not the best situation for the bank, and it's not the best situation for you. Everybody wins in a short sale transaction, you and the bank, if you short sell your property. Now, I'm not going to say that in every person's case it's going to work out that way, but if you've got a legitimate hardship there, if you're not making as much money as you were, if you're spending more money every month than you take in now, if you had a job loss, a death in the family, a divorce, and I have a list of probably 20 other different hardships, you can make this work and you can get yourself back on the right track in fewer than 2 years. It's 877-245-2030. It's 877-245-2030. I wanted to get into, there was an interesting little spotlight on HUD is actually going to sell 9,442 discounted loans on September the 12th through 2 different exchanges, DebtX and SEBA, with an average balance of $182,000 in pools consisting of homes in Chicago, Phoenix, Newark, New Jersey, and Tampa, Florida. Now, this is FHA's bulk sales began in 2010 with a pilot program that offered buyers as much as 65% off the unpaid balance, with the understanding that they would write down the debt and modify terms to help borrowers keep their homes. Obviously, there's been a lot of defaults when it comes to FHA loan, which are basically government-insured loans. And I believe the statistics per the MBA right now, 9% of FHA-insured mortgages were 90 days later in foreclosure as of June 30th, compared with 7.3% for all other home loans. So this is a pretty big issue that, everybody thinks that we're in the clear and that the foreclosures still aren't going on, but they are, guys. This is not going to go away. This is a problem that's going to exist for, who knows, could be the next 10 years, because our employment situation is not changing. The economy, it seems like for some it could be gaining a little bit of steam, but for the majority it's not. And everybody's always asking, well, this foreclosure shadow inventory, when are these properties going to come to market? This is as I've been stating numerous times, HUD, not only HUD, but other banks are selling their bad loans in bulk. So what does that mean? That means that it's going to go from them to another investor. It could be a hedge fund who picks this up, like I said, at 35 cents. They'll hold on to it for, who knows, 6 months to a year. Then they'll sell to another private investor for 50 cents. Then they'll sell to another guy for 60 cents. Then to another one for 70. Then finally, they'll foreclose. It'll go to auction sale. That could take 3 to 5 to 6 years, guys. So we're not out of the water. This is going to continue. This is going to continue for a long time.
And the list, Ryan, is, I think it's the ones that are looking to do this would be Carrington Capital Management was one of them. We talked about them last week with their deal with Citi. Solomon Brothers Bond Pioneer member Louis Ranieri, PennyMac Mortgage, Investment Trust and Fortress Investment Group, which makes your point. Some of them are going to buy them for investments and just move them on to somebody else.
Right. And for everybody out there that's like, oh, I'm only buying if I can get a foreclosure steal. Well, that's not going to happen. And I have had more frustrated investors that I've talked to over the 6 months. They're like, well, where can I get a good deal? And I'm like, well, what exactly constitutes a good deal for you right now? And their good deal, they're still in a mentality because the majority of investors out there are buy and flip guys, right? They want to buy, they want to go in, they want to do some rehab to their property and turn around and flip it for a profit, okay? Now, that, those are always going to be out there. You're probably always going to be able to find some distressed homeowners. You're going to find properties that need a lot of work that you can go in and fix up and sell for a profit, okay? But there's not near as many as where there were 3 or 4 years ago when the banks were unloading these things and there was tons and tons of them on the market. Today, especially in the Washington, D.C. metro area, there are very, very few.
You're making the right point, especially in the Washington, D.C. metro area. Does not have the level of foreclosures. They just don't exist in bulk like they do in Arizona, Florida, parts of California. And
not only that, Lewis, there's probably quadruple the amount of real estate investors in this area. So when these properties do come to market, they're often bid up.
Multiple bids, right, mostly by investors and cash buyers.
So what I'm seeing on that front for those of you listening who like to buy and flip homes and you're actively investing in real estate and you're looking for buy and flips, be prepared to pay 85 to 90 cents on a dollar. Now, you may say, well, that's not good. And I'm going to say, yeah, it's probably not if you're looking to buy and sell because you still have to pay the 6% real estate commissions. You still have to take into account if you get into the home and you find out there was something wrong because most of these foreclosure are bought as is. So, there's many different things. Now, on the flip side of that, there's the other type of investor that's going to buy it, get in, fix it up just a little bit, and put renters in there. Now, do they care that they're buying something at 85, 90%? Probably not, because they're still getting a little bit of a discount on that property, and they plan on renting it out long term. So they care less about those numbers. And what's happening is you have those two different types of investors butting heads right now. I've seen a lot of money coming in with people willing to pay, just get a 10% discount on a property just to hold on to it for the next 20, 30 years, which is a smart play. I can't fault them for doing that. I often get asked the question, well, I want to be able to, have a long-term cash flow, but also be able to make some money now. And I tell people, well, you can do a combination of both. You can do some flips, and you can also do buy and hold, buy and rent. Okay?
And I have friends who do that. They analyze the property and they determine whether they're going to rent it or whether the margin is big enough that they're going to flip it.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of that has to do with where is the property located. If it's in a very transit area, if there's an area where there's a lot of influx of military personnel or government contractors, you're more than likely going to have rising rents over a period of time. So it might make sense to buy that and rent it out. Versus if you're in another area that doesn't have as much job growth, but yet you can get a property cheap enough and you can just buy and get rid of it, that might make more sense. Overall, you need to be working with a professional that understands these things and that understands working, somebody looking to buy a property as their primary residence to live in versus somebody buying for an investment property are two completely different animals. And it's important that you're working with somebody that understands the different dynamics of that. I see a lot of people that are actually investors that are being pushed into the wrong types of property. I mean, buying condos, for instance, okay? Now, for a primary residence, if you're ever going to get out of it, condos can be, somewhat a pain because the financing is very difficult to get on those properties. You can run into where the investor saturation gets too big that later on down the road you're not going to be able to sell it. Now, if you're an investor, though, and you're buying a condo as a cash offer and all you ever plan on doing is renting it out, it might not matter to you. So, it really is important to look at the different types of properties that are out there. I know a lot of people they run away from condominiums at this point. But you know what? That there is an opportunity on the other side of that because if somebody else is running away, that means that an investor might want to run towards that opportunity. So you really just need to, analyze and figure out, okay, well, if you do want to start investing in real estate, you need to get a game plan, figure out what your short and long-term goals are. And, we can put a plan together for you to make sure that you're buying the right type of property. You can have a management company that if you don't want to manage it at all, that can handle it for you. But, just rest assured that there are options out there. And if you have the capacity, you have the means, you have a stable job, you've got the income, you've got the assets, and you can buy multiple properties, then by all means, take a shot and at least diversify your portfolio a little bit at this point. That's all I'll say. And if you have any other questions, 877-245-2030. Now, Louis, I want to I know that you're going to release to the public your Home Gain 2012 FSBO and Realtor survey tomorrow, correct?
Right, but we do have it up on the blog today. We're doing the press release this evening at midnight.
Okay, perfect. Would you mind giving our listeners a little a preview of what you have up on the blog that they can check out? What the survey revealed?
Sure. So every year we ask our customers, our home sellers that profiled on HomeGain.com, how they managed to fare, whether they want FSBO or whether they use a realtor or whether they use specifically a Home Gain realtor. And then we asked them a series of questions designed to figure out how satisfied they were with the process, if they tried to sell it on their own or if they used a realtor, and whether they were indeed successful in selling their homes. Now, what the survey showed this year is that home sellers that use a realtor do 120% better in selling their homes than if they try to sell it themselves. 66% of homeowners that we surveyed that used a realtor to sell their home were successful versus only 30% of FSBOs. Now, that 66% is a combined number. I think it was 61% that used a realtor in general and 71% that used a Home Gain realtor were successful in selling their home. So it's quite clear that using a realtor, especially in today's market, to sell your home is the way to go because they're the ones who can set the price, they understand the market, they can prepare the home or advise you on how to prepare the home for sale. They're much better able to get the job done than just trying to sell it on your own. That doesn't mean you can sell it on your own. And, of course, 30% did manage to sell it on their own. But your chances are far better in general if you go with a qualified realtor to sell your home.
Yeah, that's very interesting. We're coming up on a break, Louis. When we come back, we're going to dive more into the survey and have a few questions for you. Stay right there, guys. We'll be right back.